Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thanks for joining me. I'm Katie and it's HIMI horoscope time. And this month's zodiac symbol is Cancer, so happy birthday to all of you Cancerians out there. If it's your first time here and you haven't got a clue what any of this is, make sure you check out the dragon playlist and you'll see all of the other zodiac symbols that have been dragonified. Now, this was tricky to start off with. I mean, how'd you turn a dragon into a crab? Well, I got there in the end, you could say. So I did the best thing I could, and well, this particular dragon crab, I do this every time when there's another animal involved, but we're going with a hermit crab here, so it's pinched another shell off another sea creature. We're going to say that. I think it might be some sort of sea snail. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. For the background, I have gone for a really deep blue. I believe Cancer is a water sign, so blues seemed the right choice. However, I didn't want it to be overwhelmed with blue, which is why I have done the shell a really vibrant red colour. Now, I added a few yellow tones in there just so it would have a slight orange tinge to it, because that is the complementary colour to blue, and it really makes it stand out a little bit more and just adds a bit of a luminosity to it. To add some tonal details in there, I do go to town a bit on this shell by the way, but to add some of the tonal details in there, I went with purple. I think black would have been too harsh, and I think purple, you've got some of the red in there still, but also it adds some of the tonal differences which match the background, and I think that worked out pretty well. Now, the shell kind of does dominate the main part of the image here, and that's okay, but this is why I really went in there with the details. I just wanted it to stand out so much because I really was stuck on what else to do on this one. It was really hard. To add highlights, I just used the red colour for the main base of the shell, and I added a tad more yellow in there and some white and just laid that over the top. This is one of the things I like best about gouache, is you can just keep layering it up and it's fantastic. Although from the last one I did, it does have a threshold where you can go a little bit too far with it, but I didn't on this one. I just went straight to it. Now, we're experiencing a bit of a heat wave in the UK. I might have mentioned this on the last video. Boy oh boy, it's hard working with gouache when it's hot. It just dries straight away, and that was possibly one of the main problems I kept finding with this. However, you just got to keep adding some water to that paint, making sure it stays nice and hydrated and at the consistency you like working at, and it should be okay. I should just briefly mention, because you've probably just seen on screen, I decided to add a bit of a starry background to this one, and I just covered it with a plate, and here's a little secret: I draw around that same plate for every HIMI horoscope that I've done. It's a nice consistent size and I've always got it to hand, and I just lay that over the top of the picture, splattered some white paint down, and boom, we've got stars. Now, for the dragon, let's talk about the dragon. It was really hard to do this. I didn't want it to look too crabby, but I didn't want it to look like I just plonked a dragon in a shell. So what I did was I considered the shape of a crab. They're usually quite flat and squashed, so I decided to make the dragon's head quite flat and squashed like a crab's, and I think that worked out really nice, and I gave him crab claws as well. I went in there with a lighter tone just so you could differentiate more than anything, and I really wanted him to stand out. I used, again, the same red, but I added maybe a tad more yellow in there, and of course white from the original red, of course, and then I went and added some highlights in there using white, and again lighter variations of that red. For the inside of the shell, I used the purple paint, which is in the HIMI, and I'm sorry I can't give you any specific names for the colours of paint, but they're just aren't any that I can translate, especially since I've had them nearly a year now. I certainly couldn't tell you what they were. Them labels are long gone. Again though, I wanted to avoid using black, and I tend to avoid using black unless it's absolutely necessary, because I just think it's a little bit too harsh for the overall effect I'm going with. So for the colour on the inside of the shell, that is the same colour I use to outline everything. It's just dark enough to add them details in there, but it's not overwhelmingly dark where it just looks odd. Now this dragon of course is a sea dweller, so I added some nice ridges, and I suppose it looks a little bit like fins, which I know you don't get on a crab, but come on, this was a hard one to do, so I'm going to just say that's more of the dragon side of it than the crab side, but I wanted that aquatic vibe to it. To add some additional gorgeous highlights to the shell, I went in there neat with the white, and that just really adds a nice texture to it. It makes it just look a little bit more 3D, and it was just a simple thing to do, just dotting on the white, and it just worked out really nice and was lovely and effective. One of my favourite parts of doing these paintings, and most paintings to be fair, when it's this style, can't get my words out, I absolutely love going around and doing the outlining. Sometimes it's really stressful, but good stressful, and I just feel like, yes, this painting is coming together. This one was actually quite nice once I'd got into the flow of things. The other thing I really struggled with was the paint continuously drying, but apart from that it wasn't a problem, and it was just an absolute joy to do. I decided to just make the shell on our crabby friend here a little bit more, well, stand out a little bit more, and I went round it in again with some neat white, and I am just in love with this one. I love the colours, I love the idea, and I'm really happy with it. Again, I just want to wish all of you who fall under the star sign of Cancer a very happy birthday, and I also want to thank you for watching this video, and I do hope you are enjoying the series. If you have enjoyed it, please leave me a like, and if you're new here as well, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!